What is up, and welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Thanks for rocking with us after the Dodgers get the dub. They win again, beating the Colorado Rockies 7-2. Now you're starting to put some wins together. You win Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You got a win streak going. The Dodgers now 81-64. 2 games up on the Padres thanks to the tiebreaker. That's 3 games up. The Padres losing late. And we're at Dodger Stadium. This is not a green screen background. And here to break it down with me, I like to bring on my guests for the stadium post-game show specials. It's not Michael Duarte tonight. It is Dodgers 2080's own Mr. Tim Rogers joining us. Tim, first of all, thanks for joining us. A Dodgers Nation alum.
That's right.
Someone who's worked here longer than me, really, when you think about it. But
and you told me I was your first interview.
You were, yeah, exactly. Tim was my first interview, which is awesome. So we're going to talk to Tim. We're going to get his thoughts on tonight's win. Some very positive developments for this Dodgers team. Offense is starting to roll. The starting pitching has been fantastic. Emmet Sheehan was great in this one. But first, today's episode of the Dodgers Nation postgame show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Football season is back, and after watching the games all weekend, kind of got me through a rough stretch of Dodger baseball, but now they're back on track, feeling great. Very excited to talk about this week ahead. I'm a big fan of many players that are getting their season going. I got Jaden Daniels getting more than 220.5 passing yards. Josh Jacobs getting more than 73.5 rushing yards. And Deebo Samuel, really good week 1, getting more than 46.5 receiving yards. Now, I've been playing Prize Picks lately, and I have no idea why I waited so long. It's so simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your pick right, you could cash in. Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the app today and use code NATION to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link to download is below in our description. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So look, you know how it works here, Tim. You got the Guggenheim on the sleeve. You got commercials all game long. That's me paying my bills and keeping the lights on for this show, which we know that you guys are going to love because we got Tim Rogers. Tim, so excited to talk to you. I've talked baseball with so many people in this game. Joe Torre, Andrew Friedman. The list goes on and on. Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah. But Tim Rogers is one of, if not my favorite people in the world to talk about this game that we really love so much, and especially the Dodgers. You got to feel good about this team where it was doom and gloom. You lose 5 of 6 on the road. You lose 5 straight to last place teams. You're getting blown out. You're losing in walk-off fashion, and then all of a sudden, you're getting dominant starts. The offense is turning around. What are some of your big takeaways from tonight's win, Tim?
Well, first of all, it's Teo getting 2 home runs, Mookie crushing the ball. And we talked about this, and it was even brought up by Dave Roberts in the press conference. Teo's first at-bat, in which he ended up grounding out, we both commented, that dude was grinding out the at-bat. And, wild pitch happened, and Smith scored, which is the first run of the game. But just grinding out the at-bats, it seems like there is another gear on this team, and to see them starting to approach that a bit was really cool to see. And just, hey, Dodgers former prospect, drafted in 2021, Emmet Sheehan, man. How about that guy?
He was outstanding. He really was. I mean, 9 strikeouts again. Last time we saw him at Dodger Stadium, had 10 strikeouts, had 6 strikeouts on the road against Pittsburgh. So it's the uptick in swing and miss, in punch out. He actually has 72 whiffs in his last 4 games. I actually showed him that stat in the Dodgers clubhouse, and he said, let's go. So he's excited about it. But I do want to start with Teoscar Hernández because the at-bat you mentioned early in this one, second inning, they end up scoring on the wild pitch in that inning, but it was a 10-pitch at-bat. He grounded out, but he was on pitches. He wasn't expanding the zone. And sometimes when you see at-bats like that, it's the at-bat before the big swing, and then things start to get going. When he's on every pitch and he's seeing it so well, that's when you're seeing a more locked-in version of Teoscar Hernández. And then he comes up in the next at-bat, And I think that Teo's at his best when he knows that he hits home runs. Like when it's right off the swing. Yes, it's a little bit of a pimp job. Yes, he's kind of shining a little bit.
Yeah.
But he comes up there in the fourth inning, crushes a solo shot to center to put the Dodgers up 4-0. And even that at bat, like he's down in the count, 1-2.
Yeah.
But even those strikes, I mean, those were in the zone. He looked at that sinker in the zone. He fouled off one in the zone, fouled off a tough four-seamer in the zone, took a couple pitches off the plate. So that was the big thing for me because he's been expanding. So to take those off the plate, come back, hit a home run. Like I asked Mookie Betts after the game about Teo and how important that was. And you could see in his eyes, like Teo is such a glue guy for this team. Like when this team is at its best, it's you get what you expect from the MV3, and then one of the other guys is on a heater. Teo, Smith, Muncy, things are lining up for that to happen. I think you got to be pretty excited if you're a Dodger fan about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even going back to the wild pitch, he didn't swing at it because they're trying to get that. They're trying to get him to swing at that because we see when he's at his worst, you can just pitch him low and away, and you just sit there and go, oh no, 2 strikes, they're going low and away, especially with a right-hander, and he's dead. But for him to use the plate discipline and to then just swing at better pitches, it's just great to see. You're not going to get a hit every time, folks, but when you have good at-bats, good things will eventually happen, and it happened twice tonight for him.
It did. Some big swings, a single in this one. I think, too, one thing I noticed is, look, usually when a Dodgers player hits a home run, they round the bases, they get high fives. They get one sunflower seed shower. That's pretty much it, and it's at the top of the dugout as they're going in. Teo got the one initially, then he got another one, some hugs, like got a hug from Miguel Rojas. Tommy Edman was celebrating. You could tell that this team recognized how important that moment was for him because it's starting to feel like you can just feel it in the air. The fans can feel it, the media members, the players, like we're less than 20 games away from the postseason. And for this team to do something that hasn't been in a long time, everyone's going to have to step up and contribute. And tonight, massive for Teo. We were hoping to talk to him after the game. He's pretty smooth, man. We were talking to Mookie. He put that hat on, and he got that big megawatt Teoscar Hernández smile, and he left the clubhouse. But I think that's fine. You know, he's someone that he's always great with the media. I liked him after the game. I watched a little bit of his interview with Kirsten Waston, and she was like, I'm back. So it's great to see that. But I also want to talk Mookie Betts because Mookie Betts, all of a sudden, I mean, Shohei draws the walk. Mookie puts on the big swing, made it a 3-0 game against Marquez. And a couple of weeks ago, even a couple months ago, we were just hoping that Mookie could contribute in any capacity, like draw walks, get some base hits, occasional double, maybe a home run. But now you're seeing so much slug, and the RBIs are pumping. He's got 2 RBIs a game, last 4. He's really putting up MVP numbers since the beginning of August. Like, if you could have offered me, like at the deadline, Tim, if you could have said, okay, you guys can either trade for Steven Kwan or get MVP Mookie Betts back as far as his bat, give me that, right?
Any day.
And that's huge.
Any day. And Steven Kwan's still hitting like 230 since the trade deadline. So there's never any guarantees. And just, you know, being out there, I was on the field earlier. Again, Mookie's out there for an hour doing his work at shortstop. That is paying off. Just such admiration for that guy as a baseball player and his work ethic, and to see it pay off. Who knows what it is? There's even some people that say, "Oh my gosh, he played 1 inning in right field and that changed his trajectory."
Are there people saying that?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, no, whatever. It doesn't matter.
That's a great point, Tim. Don't you love it? Do you know all this has happened because they moved him back to right field and he's hitting 300 and he's hitting him right? It's all because they moved him back to right field, right?
For 1 inning. Yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, the guy is becoming the player that the Dodgers really need. I mean, remember, he was the MVP of the whole postseason in 2024, which, remember, he started out really, really poor. Then he had Brent Honeywell throw a bunch of meatballs to him, crushed a bunch of those, and got his confidence and became, you know, one of the most important players on the postseason run. Why can't he do it again? I don't see any reason he can't.
Absolutely. And I think what you love about this is there's always these kind of late season debates, like who's going to be in the rotation, who's getting game 1, 2, and 3, who's going to be the 25th or the 26th man on the roster. Sometimes it's how is that lineup going to look? And one thing I love about the current state that they're in with guys coming back off injury, guys starting to produce like we're accustomed to, is there's no questions about this lineup because Mookie is hitting again. Shohei's already put up what's going to be a unanimous MVP season, his 4th MVP of his career. But let's not forget, too, Freddie Freeman hit a home run in this one, his 20th of the year in the 8th inning off of Contreras. Betts hit a home run. Shohei Ohtani goes 1 for 3, also drew that walk that led to that home run. So when the big dogs are eating at the top of the lineup, everyone falls in line. So I think, look, and here's the thing. What's been the problem with this team, right? They haven't been able to score runs.
Right.
Like they've been averaging around 3 runs per game in the last 8-9 games. And yes, it's the Rockies. Yeah. It's the Rockies.
Yeah.
But it could be, if anything, it helps them because it gets their confidence up. And I think this team, they know what they look like when they're rolling, and you're starting to see signs of it.
Well, just remember, when they're kind of going bad, you can always guarantee that if they're facing a pitcher with an ERA over 5, they're going to lose.
That's a good point.
They're going to get dominated. But let's also, if you didn't hear, 2024 NLCS MVP Tommy Edman comes back tomorrow. So now the lineup gets even better.
You meet your best friend, Tommy Edman.
Yeah. Got to have a little chat with Tommy tonight. We have mutuals, which is pretty cool. He's a really good guy, by the way. So, but I was watching him work out. He looked great. You know, defense, second base, he was ranging. He was running sprints out in the outfield, playing long toss. He's ready to go. So it might take a little bit to get back into it, but it's just another option. And I think what I talk about on my show, I don't want to see the competition being, who's going to be that last guy that just barely is good enough? There are 26 spots, and you're going to have to fight like crazy to get on the team. So you go, where's that? Get that competition. Have Hae-Sung Kim have to compete. Have Conforto have to compete, all those things. I know Conforto went 0 for 4, but he did hit the ball really good a couple times. Yeah,
he looked like he thought he had one. He thought he had one to center. And look, I mean, they're going to stick with him until further notice, until everyone's healthy. And I think, too, until they see if Hae-Sung Kim can hit consistently, too. That's another thing they're probably going to be looking at as an evaluation tool to determine who makes this roster. I think they're really the story in this one, though. Like the big story of all stories. You got Teo, you got Mookie, you got the offense starting to give you hope again. Because when this team's great, everyone's hitting, right? And guys are slugging. And that's the big difference, too. And we saw that tonight. But the starting pitching, they've been unhittable. Like the starting pitching has been literally like that's thrown out a lot in like a 2-hit game, a 3. But Emmet Sheehan, he retired the first 15 hitters in order. Is 12 consecutive no-hit innings by the Dodgers starting rotation, and who ends it? It's son of Dodgers legend, Eric Karros. Kyle Karros ruins the perfect game. He has a leadoff single at the top of the 6th inning. Also scored on that single by Tyler Freeman. But that was the only knock, the only blemish on Sheehan's outing. He had a walk after that. He went 7 innings, 1-run ball. He had 9 strikeouts, had just 1 walk. Alex Vesia came in. He made his return today. And he comes in the 8th, had 2 strikeouts, a clean inning. Kirby didn't look great. We'll talk about that in a second here. But I just look at where this team is this year versus last year. And last year it was, okay, a little bit of a fight with the Padres. You're going to finish with the best record in baseball. This year, you're probably going to finish 5 or 6 less wins potentially. I called it yesterday that the Dodgers would go 6-0 this week. You got a tough series up in San Francisco. Have to finish the job in this series tomorrow. But if you compare the starting pitching of this team to the starting pitching of last year's team, there is no comparison. They are so loaded in their rotation. It gives me so much confidence.
Yeah, they had 2.5 starters going into last year. They had Flaherty. Flaherty was your game 1 guy. And then, Yamamoto was still recovering from injury. So he still wasn't 100% at the very beginning. And then Walker Buehler had been terrible. Let's be honest about it. Now you've got 6 guys. And that's one of those things where the competition is, hey, there's 3 spots. I mean, if they have to play in the wild card, there's only 3 spots. Who's competing for that? And then if they keep going for 5 games, they only need 4 starters. They only need 4 starters the rest of the way. But you go, hey, they can do some piggybacking and all that type of stuff. And that is a good problem to have. Bullpen, that's a different question. But at least always something to remember with Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers get 14 pitchers, everyone else gets 13.
Absolutely. Massive advantage. Massive advantage there for sure. And then I thought something was interesting tonight because Kirby Yates gets the 9th, gives up that home run to Goodman. He was noticeably frustrated. He's trying to put together clean innings. We have not seen a lot of Michael Kopech. He's made 1 appearance since returning from the IL, and I think he's going to be massive for this team. Like, you need 80-90% of what he brought last year in the postseason to feel really good about a right-handed flamethrower.
Yeah.
He brings that edge to this bullpen that they lack. I mean, even Brock Stewart, if he comes back and he's good against righties, he's not that triple digits dude. Right. Blake Trinan's relying on soft contact, the nasty turbo sinker, things like that. And he's nasty. We know what he's capable of, and I just have a lot of trust in him. But I'm curious to see why Michael Kopech has been underutilized. Are they just looking for a soft landing for him? Are they looking for just different spots, or is there something lingering? I mean, I just think he's such a key piece down the stretch that he's got to really find a rhythm. Like, I mean, before you blink, we're going to be talking about the postseason. I mean, we're weeks away, less than 20 games. I think it's 14 games, things like that. I mean, you're looking at for a reliever to really get those appearances in. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, his last appearance, he was really good too. I mean, he was dominating out there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I know that in his minor league rehab, he had some inconsistencies, and I think with Kopech though, that it just happens sometimes. And we've even seen the pattern with Trinan. You know right away that he should only face 3 batters. That does happen sometimes with him, but most of the time he comes out and just, with that type of stuff, he really can dominate, and he can put a lot of hitters away. It is, you do need to have those guys that could come in and hit triple digits in the postseason.
No, 100%. And that's what, I mean, as far as things that we're looking at down the stretch, Dave's looking at it, the front office is looking at, like, who can they trust? Yep. We know who those guys at the top are, right? We know that based on his history alone, based on what he did last year alone, based on what he's done for most of his Dodgers career, Blake Trinan is going to be that guy. Alex Vesia is going to be that guy. Tanner Scott, there's some doubts about. I mean, I think if you're this organization, you've got lefties, right? You've got Bonda, you've got Tanner Scott, you've got Jack Dreyer, you've got Justin Robleski.
Yeah.
And if we're going on just pure, hey, like, what have they done this year? How good did they look now? There's some younger guys that are making less than $1 million a year that have been pitching more than the guy that signed a $72 million contract. How tough of a decision do you think it's going to be to kind of, I mean, do you go back and, like, you use Tanner Scott maybe in a lower leverage situation, a heavy lefty lineup, just things to make him feel better? Because for me, what I've been saying on my show is that you kind of use that as a way to say, how do we get to pitching like Scott did last year, where he's not living in the zone as much? And then if he's effective there, he kind of earns his way back up that trust tree.
Yeah, I agree. However, of course, the last 2 pitches that he's given up hits on were pitches that were out of the zone, and the batters went and got it.
Yesterday wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. And even the hit, I just can't even think about it. The game in Baltimore, the loss there, that wasn't a hard hit ball either. The guy just went and reached for it. Baseball happened. I'm still encouraged by what I think he can do. But he does need to go back to whatever he was doing in 23 and 24. Don't worry about the zone. Just throw that ball. If they're going to swing. That he gets all those chases, and maybe it's a little bit of a pitch mix. I don't know. Maybe they're kind of thinking that pitch is going to come like that. So maybe get some unpredictability.
Yeah, they've talked about that, right? Because he's a slider fastball guy, but when you're a slider fastball guy that is living in the zone and the margin for error isn't great, whether it be velocity or location, big league hitters are going to make you pay for it, and that's what's happened with him. Let's go to some comments, though. Tim's getting a lot of love. Tim's getting a lot of love here in the comments. JRM, last year's team was really, really hungry. Scott Van Slyke over Conforto. Vic Shoots. We've got NS giving a shout out to Tim. We've got DFLA. I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys are in your chat too. Let's be honest here. Justin Woodfill. Yates can never have a clean inning. Old and washed. That's interesting. I mean, I hate to call anyone old or washed, as the kids say. I will say, though, that time is running out on Kirby Yates. I mean, I like to say, hey, the Dodgers, they play players, not paychecks, right? They play players, not contracts. And when you start thinking, hey, I'm going to play this contract, that's when you get in trouble, right?
Absolutely.
And for someone like Tanner Scott, it's understandable why you would want to give him so many opportunities to get back to the guy that he was the last 2 seasons with the Padres and Marlins, because you've committed $72 million to him. And I think, too, from a velocity standpoint and a movement standpoint, he hasn't had a significant drop-off. It's just the attack plan. Kirby Yates is a different story, just because when his splitter doesn't split, it can look like a batting practice fastball, right? So how do you fix Kirby Yates, and how much pressure do you think he's facing down the stretch to show them that he's a guy that they can still trust in October?
Well, I don't know if you recall, but there was some type of interview with him where he talked about the seams felt different to him. That matters to a guy who throws a splitter. I mean, you're trying to stick that ball in between your fingers like that, and any difference is going to, your feel. I mean, this is a guy that makes his living doing this. He's been throwing this pitch for a long time. He's been very good when he's not injured. And even but the beginning of the season, he looked really good.
Yeah, it's a great point. It was a hamstring.
Then right before that, gave up that home run in Texas.
That's right.
And that was like the first blemish, because it was like before that he seemed automatic.
And not only was he automatic, the strikeout stuff was good. Yeah. And that's what the Dodgers front office wants to see, right? They want it, like, if there's, like, they don't look at, I don't think, Jack Dreyer's ERA is this. This is a reason to pitch him in the postseason. They look at how's the stuff trending, how's the strikeout stuff, and how will this play up against a really good lineup that has a lot of time to scout pitchers in the postseason. That's a big difference, right? I mean, there's so much more time. That's why, like, someone like Kershaw, right? Having success now, and I still think that he can have success for his team in the postseason. It's a whole different animal, though, when you're going up against teams that have spent 48, 72 hours reviewing every single pitch, looking at all the film, having a attack plan, having an approach against a certain pitcher. Versus, okay, you're catching a team on this day, on that day. It's just so different when teams have time to game plan in October.
Absolutely. The intensity is different. Everything's on the line. So they're going to do, smart teams are going to do what they need to do, whether it's watching a bunch of film. I keep using film, but video, whatever.
It's film study. You know what I'm saying?
Film. Or do the scenario with where you put on the helmet and watch stuff. I mean, and
I'll tell you this: Jose Mota, I have him on my show once a month. Before the show, he'll show me his collection of VCR VHSs, and it's like the best stuff. It's like the Dodger way, 1984, and like he's got a collection of like VHSs that, like, I want to buy a VCR, find a way to hook it up, and like transfer it to like digital, get on YouTube, because I haven't seen that stuff anywhere. Like there's some awesome like Dodgers content laying around on a VCR somewhere. I do want to get back to Emmet Sheehan, because I do think that is definitely one of the stories of the night. And I think the Dodgers have seen him be one of the most consistent starters since he's come back. And I think for him, there's this kind of like, he's overshadowed, right? And it's obvious, right? I mean, you have Blake Snell, you have Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, even Roki Sasaki to a degree because of the hype. But Sheehan is someone, from a pure stuff standpoint, from the way that he can get swing and miss, the way he can get strikeouts, I'm curious to see how they're going to use him in the postseason, because I almost feel like right now, like, we talked about this off camera, on the phone, things like that. You got the killer, you got the assassin, you got Yamamania for one game, game one or two, but game one, Shohei Ohtani, Emmet Sheehan in a little combo hybrid. And if Shohei goes 4, Sheehan gives you 3. If Shohei goes 5, Sheehan gives you 2 to 3. And you save that bullpen. You have just Blake trying to come out in the night. It opens up so many options for you. I almost kind of like that game one in a series. I will say, I think Yamamoto's earned it. I think that you feel so confident when he's out there on the mound that I'd be totally fine with it. It feels like that's kind of the direction they're going. But I don't know. What say you about just kind of how you use Emmet Sheehan in October?
Yeah, you got to be wide open to, because I do see that he could do something like close even you got to do that right now. You can't wait. But you never know how things work out. I mean, who got the last out in the World Series, right? Oh. And that's happened many times in the World Series where a starter comes in and finishes a series. So I think I want to real quick. It's amazing how he has come back from all the major surgeries like he did. When you see other guys struggle, like Walker Buehler, of course, is one of them, Dustin May, both of those guys never really recovered. Emmet Sheehan is right back to where he was when he goes and throws 6 innings of no-hit ball in his debut.
Yeah, and he was so locked in. I asked him after the game, I was like, did you have any idea that you had the no-hitter, the perfect game going, things like that? And I was like, what I was curious to get from him was, like, are you picking up on the vibes? Because it's usually not the guy. Like, I asked Oral Hershiser, like, who would you have in a Game 7 in Dodger history? And he said it would be me, because I don't want to watch. Because when you watch, there's more pressure than actually doing. Yeah. And Sheehan told me that he actually didn't know, because he was so locked in. Yeah. But if the guys around him, you see in the dugout, they're giving him his space. They're not talking to him. It's like the unwritten rule of baseball. But when he's out there dealing, like, he finds such a groove and a rhythm. I even told him, I was like, man, you can tell, like, the difference between your mound presence after your 4th strikeout versus your 1st strikeout. Like, there's a little extra moxie and swagger and mound presence out there that it's just kind of crazy. Like, a lot of teams out there, like, Emmet Sheehan would be a much bigger story because of his performance. Yeah. But with the Dodgers, he's like an afterthought, and that's no slight to him. Yeah. I actually think it works in the Dodgers' favor, because I think you're going to see, holy crap, like, this is a guy who could emerge. Like, I'm not going to compare him to like a 2020 Julio Urias, right? But when you look at what Julio did, it was start some games, come out of the pen, and then there was just this, like, okay, hybrid role. I think that the rest of the guys like Glasnow and Shohei and Snell and Yamamoto, those are lifelong starters. Yeah. They have to be used in that role. With Sheehan, it's just an incredible question to me, because they're going to use him, and there's just been no indication as to how.
Right. And, it's good to have him, like you talked about, to pair up with Shohei or something like that. But to go into a 7-game series, to have literally 6 starters, which means you've got four starters, 2 guys that are backing them up, and you still have a bullpen of 8, versus what we had when we literally ran out of pitching. Walker Buehler was it. Daniel Hudson had nothing to give to come back in there in that game. So that they at least have that abundance of pitching, which is a great thing. And it's an abundance of really good pitching. I mean, come on. Tyler Glasnow, which everyone's a little concerned because, he had a little owie a few days ago. But look what he did. Holy smokes!
Like, it's one of those, like, the silencer type outings. It's the Homer Simpson going to the hedge type outing where all my critics have disappeared. I've silenced them. And yesterday, I think that he made a statement. I think Sheehan made a statement. He's Emmet Sheehan right now, and we're going to hear from him, hear what he had to say in that Dodgers clubhouse. And when we come back, I want all of your questions for Dodgers 2080's own, the great Tim Rogers, joining us here live at Dodger Stadium.
Emmet, obviously you were fantastic tonight. You were perfect through 5, excellent through 7. How do you describe just kind of the feeling that you had on the mound and how your stuff was playing tonight?
Thank you. Yeah, I felt good. I felt like executing the slider pretty well to the glove side, and then trying to keep him off the heater as much as possible. But yeah, felt really good. With
that slider, the usage was up in this one. How has that pitch just evolved for you, and how you've kind of used it, been more reliant on it?
I think it's like the more I throw it, the easier it gets to get it to that spot. Yeah, I think it's an important pitch for me for sure, just because I'm usually pretty fastball heavy, so keeping him off that with the sliders is pretty important.
You saw what the rest of the rotation did the last time through. Was there any competition like, Glasnow had the no-hitter through 7, I got to do it myself?
No, I wasn't really thinking about it, but it's been incredible what those guys have been doing. Yoshi's start, and then Glass's start, and Kirsch. They've all been unreal.
Did you know what you had going? I mean, were you following it?
Not really, no.
Okay.
You didn't know that you had not given up a hit or a base runner after 5?
I probably knew, but I was definitely not thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the right answer.
strikeouts last 2 home appearances? Just kind of what has been the uptick in the strikeouts lately?
I think just execution has been a lot better, trying to stay around the zone more, trying to get rid of the uncompetitive pitches as much as I can, and yeah, just keeping them off balance.
You asked about kind of like the no-hitters in the perfect games. Is that kind of contagious? And just like when you see a guy go out there going into your next start, does that kind of just kind of extra motivate you to kind of go out there and do it?
I don't know. I definitely like seeing Glass, what he did yesterday against the same lineup, and trying to pick up on certain stuff that worked, even though our arsenals are a little different, I think helps a lot. But yeah, just seeing him have success was definitely big.
And your last 2 home starts have been really good, like you said. Does that confidence, does the confidence feed on itself?
Maybe, yeah. I think I just feel comfortable out there, so that's definitely something that helps for sure.
All right, we're back here with Dodgers 2080's Tim Rogers. Fun fact about Tim is he stress eats ice cream, media room ice cream all game long. How many could you crush? I mean, it's pretty impressive because, Michael DeWarty on the show, he always tells my in-game eating secrets. A lot of times he's kind of putting me on blast, right? Whether it be multiple chili hot dogs, whatever it may be, but you do crush that ice cream. It's pretty bomb, right?
I love the soft serve. It's all soft serve. However, they didn't have it really. It was only chocolate, and it was real slow today, so I only had a bit. But when I'm on a real heater, I take you don't do the cup. The little cup, you take the Coke cup for the Cokes, and you fill that sucker up. So I've done like 3 or 4 of those.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So give me your total, like, what did you crush at the stadium, food wise, drink wise? Like, what was your today?
I had the regular dinner, 4 cookies, 2 little things.
Come on, we're all about we're about the details here though. What kind of cookies?
Oh.
Not the Kirby Yates cookie in the 9th though, right?
No. Their raisin cookies are pretty darn good, and then I just love those just plain cookies with sprinkles on it. But
yeah, those are really. And by the way, here's a fun fact: is that the that ice cream machine, a lot of the reliability of it's hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. But it's actually the original ice cream machine from Brooklyn. They actually brought it here from Ebbets Field. So I'm curious what they did for, was it the Coliseum before they moved here? I don't know, but interesting stuff. For me, I'm laying off the cookies. I'm laying off the ice cream, but I'll do the toffee, chocolate topping. I'll put it directly in a cup. But I'm trying to get in good shape for summer. You know what I mean?
hey,
because summer's over. No, it's not. September 22nd is when it ends. I don't do that to me, Tim. I still have some time to get that summer bod, that 6-pack. So come on now, let's stay positive here, like we are about this team right now. Other thing too, I'm wondering is, I do want to. You mentioned something during Emmet Sheehan's presser that I found really interesting, and that is that you don't start talking about the no-hitter, think about the no-hitter till the 6th inning till he completes the 6th. But for me, the reason why I was already kind of on no-hit perfect game watching the 3rd inning is, one, because of what happened to Yamamoto, what happened with Glass now.
Absolutely.
And we are 60 years to the day from when Sandy Koufax pitched a perfect game against the Cubs right behind us. There's only 6 minutes of film for it before the camera ran out of film, which is a tragedy. But Vin Scully's call is one of the best calls you'll hear in the history of Major League Baseball. So there was definitely something in the air. Mm-hmm. And I asked him after the game, you could hear it, is it kind of contagious? I think it is. I think that the rotation is locking in, and it's he even said I see Glass now going out there, and that's another thing that I want to kind of stress is these guys are so good that they're rising tides lift all boats, right? And these guys, I think, are making each other better. And there's just something right now. Last year, it was the bullpen and the offense. This story for the Dodgers in the 2025 postseason, I think, is going to be starting pitching. I really do.
Well, no, I do agree with that. However, I also think there's still a chance the bullpen will get it together by then. This has happened.
They're going to need for it.
Yeah, but this has happened before where everything falls apart. And then last year it happened, and then they got Kopech, and all of a sudden everyone started to get better. Well, Vesey was good almost the whole year. So, but everyone else was kind of, Phillips was shaky for a bit, but everyone kind of got better. And I think that there's the potential with that. I think Vesia brings some of that back. I don't know if you saw it. Roki threw
100
pitches up.
Threw at 100. Yeah.
Sitting at 98 today. Kyle Hurt looked good today, according to our bud Casey Porter. And so
I think, so that's kind of where it gets pretty interesting. And for me,
A lot of names.
I don't know, in my chat, they give me some grief because I dropped a t-shirt and I coined the phrase Rookie of the Year, and they feel like I've jinxed him, and I'm gonna have to send those shirts to the same place that's wearing the 2024 Yankees World Series t-shirts right now.
I'll buy one.
You'll buy one?
Yeah.
So
Pay me to.
I'll pay you. Okay, I got our premier influencer here, Mr. Tim Rogers. Go follow him.
I'll wear it on my show.
Absolutely. So I have a lot invested in his success, but also too, it's like he's an emotional guy. You can tell that already. He was not as polished and refined as Yamamoto or even Ohtani. He was always kind of an unfinished product, and this year was just about him getting experience, getting his feet wet. But even the Roki or Kyle Hurt or Bobby Miller, or even like Ben Kaspiris, who was optioned today, that I think is due for a nice reset. Think about if you put pen to paper, you can get to almost 20 names of guys that could pitch for the Dodgers this postseason. And yes, you're up 2 games of the Padres, 3 if you include the tiebreaker. You're 4 games back, 5 games back if you include the tiebreaker on the Phillies for the 2nd seed. But I think if you gave the Dodgers the option of, okay, you could run away with the 2nd seed, you could run away with the best record in the National League, or you could almost guarantee that you're going to have 13 to 14 pitchers that you can trust in October. And I think that, look, Blake Snell could have been back sooner. Glasnow could have been back sooner. Kershaw could have been back sooner. Ohtani could have been back sooner. Every single one of these guys, it feels like, could have been back even a day sooner. And I think that is the 4D chess of Andrew Friedman in this organization this year. Call me crazy, but I feel like they've sacrificed 10 to 15 to 20, who knows, regular season wins because they have PTSD about the number that you mentioned at the top of the show, which is 2.5. They had 2.5 starters this year. Last year, this year they have 5, 6.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that because that. And it's one of those things where you just, as a Dodger fan, you start getting used to some of this stuff, and you might as well be, because after last year, when they basically punted on 3 playoff games, I mean, not that they're trying to not trying to lose, but they go, hey, it's reached a certain point, we got to be careful, and so that does happen. We see that sometimes. You see Dave sometimes make a move that you go, what are you doing? There's reasons for it. We don't, you don't even have all that information. He's the ultimate insider these days. The ultimate insider.
You're so kind.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where I hate saying trust the process, but sometimes I just do. It's a little easier after last year. After 2023, I trusted nothing. I mean, if you saw my stuff, I literally said, fire them all or something like that. I don't remember.
You bring up a really refreshing point that I haven't heard anyone really make, and that is that, in course, I get it, blah, blah, blah. They have to make the postseason first. Guys, they're making the postseason, okay? Let's just, worst case scenario, you're going to Chicago to play the Cubs, okay? You're going to be in the postseason. But you bring up a great point that I haven't really heard anyone make, and that is that Dave Roberts and this team, they're going to be managing this year potentially differently. I mean, you mentioned Game 5 in the NLCS, for example. There were those moments where, I need the offense to generate 3, 4, 5 runs in the first 4 innings to talk myself into using my high leverage guys.
Right.
This time around, if things line up like we think they're going to, it's going to be a 9-inning game no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think with this offense, guys are trending in the right direction, that it could give the Dodgers an advantage this year that they didn't have last year because they're whole. So I love that. I mean, and that just gives me we're at the point of the year where you're kind of looking around, you're looking at the current team, you're like, can they capture that magic? You know what I mean? And it feels like this team is, they have that sense. I talked about on my show today that 2000 Yankees team. They lost 15 of 18 down the stretch. They lost 7 in a row down the stretch. Championship teams that have veterans that have won rings. If this team gets matched up with the Brewers, right? Are they afraid of the Brewers?
No.
Are they afraid of the Phillies?
No.
Right? I mean, that's what I'm saying, right?
They're afraid of nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah. After what they went through last year, which they proved a lot of things to a lot of us. And when they did that thing where Muncy and Rojas and all those guys said, hey, give me 3 weeks. And they did it. They overcame those people, my compadres down there. Not mine, but
The loneliest trophy case in professional sports.
yeah. Well, another parade for that wild card, huh? And the Padres. Any team can scare you because any team can win. We saw that. We've seen that. But if you go on paper, and also the character that I still think the character of this team is very similar. People say, "Oh, Barnes is gone. Oh, Taylor's gone." No, they got Mookie. They got Freddie, they got Shohei, they got Teo, they got Will Smith, and of course the MVP, Max Muncy.
Like this team, like, no, we talked about, I mean, it's nice that, you got Shohei's the Robin to Muncy's Batman, right? I mean, that's just how it feels. Obviously, I'm only joking, but that just tells you when you have a guy that's not going to be a Hall of Famer, that's made some All-Stars, but that's kind of your X factor guy. It shows you how important he is to a lineup. I got to get a take on Michael Conforto, though. I mean, that's the top of conversation. When Chris Taylor went away, he became, the punching bag that always was the guy you go to when he's struggling. And look, tonight, like we talked about, he did think he had one. He thought he hit a home run. The hits have been there. Like, he's been a little more productive offensively. The issue I have with Michael Conforto as far as his prospects of making this roster are the one thing that he's here for, he's not great at. Right? He's not here to play defense. Right. He's not here to run the bases. He's not here to pinch hit or anything like that. He's here to hit. Yeah. And he has to hit a lot better than he's been hitting to make sense for this team in October. Because I look at my outfield picture, I'm moving Teo to left, I'm moving Pages to right, and I'm keeping Tommy Edman in center field. Or
are you putting Kike in center and Tommy in at second?
So great point, and we've talked about that on the show. And that's the funny thing that no one mentions. Like, so what? Kike Hernandez, they bring back, has not played most of this season at a level that we're accustomed to. He's back for October.
Exactly.
And are you going to wait until you're down 2-0 in a series? Or think about this. If the fans will pull their hair out, they'll go to the tallest mountain, they'll go right in back of the San Gabriels and scream if he's not getting at bats early in series, especially if the offense is floundering. But he can also make plays defensively too. Yeah. So he played center field when Edman was at short. That's the only difference. But I do think that you're going to see Edman or Kike at second. I agree, because I think that's a big ask for Ha-Seong Kim.
It is.
In his first go around. I love him as a pinch runner, but I do think that the conversation is, do we value Kim as a pinch runner? Because you're not really using him as a defensive substitution, right?
No, with Edman.
Not with Edman and not with Kike, right?
Right.
But do you think that I think for him is like, can he actually have competitive at-bats in the postseason against really good pitchers? Or do you think that Conforto gives you a better at-bat? You know what I mean? So, or Alex Call's under team control for a couple years. Do you really view him as a fourth outfielder? Like, we've seen less Alex Call too. So it kind of makes you wonder if you keep... But then Alex Call against lefties is pretty darn good.
It is pretty darn good.
So I almost think I do believe it comes down to Conforto or Kim.
I would agree with that, because I think Call will be the guy that they, Teo needs to sit down. Remember, he didn't finish the game last year in Game 5. It was Chris Taylor in the outfield. So that'll happen again. Alex Call will get that defensive call plenty of times in the outfield. He can play all over the outfield, so I'm not worried about that. I just want to see him take the at-bats that he was doing in Washington, where, his strikeout rate is just so much higher here. I looked at it, and it's like, oh my gosh.
It has gone up. It has sparked up, but it is nice to see the effort defensively from him and the way he can ground out at bats. It's kind of like Max Muncy-ish, minus the home runs and like the slug, right? So we know why he's on this team for that. Any other big questions? Like, is there one big question you want to have this team answer down the stretch? I mean, is it just, hey, hold off the Padres, get guys hot, stay healthy, and then see what happens in October?
Yeah, I said it a couple weeks ago. This team is still, in my opinion, the best team in baseball. I don't care what the record is. I still think they're the best team in baseball. The question is getting that bullpen refined and going, okay, the trust list, okay, it's Vesia and Trinan, Dreyer. I mean,
what? Everyone sleeps on Anthony Banda. Yeah, like, he's been really good.
He has been. Yeah, he's had a really good
bitty Banda.
Bitty Banda. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So, but that's, 3 of those.
So Kopech's a big one then, and Tanner Scott's a big one.
I totally think so. And it's getting to that end. And we talk with Kopech, he has to start getting work every other day or once at least every 3 days. And then back to Scott, Doug and I were talking late into the night a few days ago. Tanner Scott needs, in my opinion,
that's where my anytime minutes are. That's my anytime minutes. I have to wait till my night. That's when it comes free. Sorry.
That's right. But Scott, just get, like you said, just give him the 6th. Let him get a little comfortable. I was really disturbed when he was brought in, the way he kept being brought in, and I felt, as a human, I was hurting for him. I mean, just going, man,
it's a psychological thing for these guys at this point. It really is. And what I said on my show is, you brought in a guy in a tough situation where 24 hours earlier he had said that baseball hates me right now. The baseball gods hate me right now. So that tells you what you need to know. And getting his confidence up is going to be absolutely huge. I want to ask you about some of you obviously are an expert at the big league guys, but some of the prospects, Alex Freeland, how impressed were you with his time in the show? I think defensively shows some versatility. We saw some of the pop late, the Rockies series, a couple home runs against the Padres. There was a moment there I'm like, oh, great. Is this kind of like a 4A guy? Like, is he going to be this next Dodgers prospect that doesn't hit well? But I think that he really, Mookie took him under his wing. Mookie would work with Alex Freeland the entire afternoon on just little tiny nuances of the game. I don't think he does that unless he thinks that he's going to be a part of this team's future. So that's one thing that has changed for me. I think that Freeland has a role for this team in the future. At least they're considering it.
Yeah, my guy Showtime LA, you were right about Freeland. What impressed me the most, though, was he didn't even play his position, but he played both third. He was at second. He looked like he'd been playing that was his number one position, and third he was good. And to be able to go and be able to, it's really a talent to be able to play shortstop and third base. That's a very hard thing. The angles are so different. Second and third's a bit different. Second and short, it's enough difference, but second and third, it's such a different. They're close, but they're such different angles. The ball's coming much different. I was so impressed with him. The floor becomes, it's definitely not quad A. The floor is a really good utility player. But there might be more.
No, see, that's the thing. That's where I'm at. Because if he hits, when he was, switch ability, he can give you some slug. For him, it was confidence, and then he started to unlock that slug. But even he told me a couple times, he was like, "Hey, I love playing shortstop." He's like, "Mookie knows I love playing shortstop." So. Who knows? Maybe it was a situation where Mookie almost knows that at some point, maybe you can be the shortstop of the Dodgers. It's almost like that scene from Lion King where you got Simba and you got Mufasa. And he's like, "Oh, this will be yours one day," right? Maybe Mookie is doing that with him, saying that could be his because he's got versatility. Do you think that he could take over third? I don't see how you could not either pick up Muncie's club option or give him an extension, right?
Well, you have to do that. But also Muncie does break a bit. We've seen that a few times now. Twice this year. We saw it last year. But with Freeland, you brought up Mookie. Mookie doesn't want one more ring. He wants a hand.
He wants to fill up his whole hand.
Yeah, and probably more. So given that, if he's doing that with Freeland and really working with him and going and doing all that, the extra mile, but with Mookie, it's always the extra mile. I think that's a real positive thing. He's going, hey, I want to win more rings. Is this my guy to help me? And if he is going to be that guy, I'm going to help him get good.
And that's a sense that I kind of picked up. So, just kind of seeing your growth, seeing from your eyes, because the cool thing about Tim is he knows about these guys before he's on your radar, a lot of times my radar, and he gets to see these guys from A-ball all the way up to the show. So you kind of get the feeling just kind of describe the Emmet Sheehan path for you. Just kind of seeing him from where he was to where he was now. Is he somebody you always felt was going to do stuff like he did tonight?
I wasn't sure. I mean, when he came up, I saw some potential. He reminded me a bit just because of his build and even his hair a little bit, but not as greasy, of Brandon Crawford. Remember, Brandon Crawford didn't look like a shortstop, but he was one of the best defensive shortstops we've ever seen. Very consistent, all that stuff, even with that snot coming off his hair. But Freeland, he reminded me of that with his build, and he's fast. He didn't really get a chance to show it too much with the Dodgers, but he was a 30 base guy last year at Tulsa and OKC. So there's a lot of speed there. There's some power. He could be, a 15 home run to 20 home run, 25 to 30 stolen bases if they let him steal. Of course, that's the thing. But also just being able to provide really good defense, maybe all over the diamond.
Yeah, I love hearing that. Okay, so Tim's got a long drive down to San Diego. He lives in enemy territory. Let's read some comments here. Rosmano Carino says, Tim Rogers, where do you post your data when it comes to your player analysis? You want to answer that?
It's mostly just in podcasts. I actually have a full-time job. So
believe it or not.
And I'll be working tomorrow. I'll be putting in a good 10 to 12 hours. So it's mostly chat, but my channel, we do have Mike Salas, who writes. He has his own Substack. You can see it on our channel, Dodgers 2080. If you look in some of the descriptions of our newer things, it has Mike's Substack. He does a great deep dive into these things. And real quick, the Quakes lost tonight. They have a home game on Thursday. It's going to be great. Go watch the Quakes. I can't be there Thursday, but I'll try to get there Friday. Hopefully they have a Friday. So they need fans out there on Thursday. There's a ton of good players there. They just
go support your Quakes. Go support your Quakes.
It's cheap.
We've got Dan Moreno, we got Rosie, we got Roger Smith, we've got D-Mac needs Conforto on as a special guest. If we did, we'd have to turn the comments off the way you guys would treat Michael Conforto. But hey, one of these days we'll get him on for sure. We've got George saying Turdy Yates. Come on. Show some respect to Kirby Yates. I've heard Kirby Yikes, but yeah, you guys are always great with the names. MTV Gen X Watcher Fan, what's up? We got NS, and we got Kunji Club says move Glass now to closer. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like that thought crossed my mind a little bit from the standpoint of if Kersh and Glass now were in the same postseason roster, I would much rather have Kersh always start just to see, because if he has it, then okay, give me 4 or 5. Yeah. If he doesn't have it, you have enough time to make up for it with the runs. And there's just no world where Kersh is coming in any way out of the bullpen, whether it be as a piggyback guy, or maybe mop-up guy if you're in the World Series Game 7, but they're not going to do that to Clayton Kershaw, right? So that's a loaded one, but we'll get you out of here. I'm going to put you on the spot big time here. Oh boy. I'm going to put you on the spot. I think you've already kind of answered this in like your show, but call it right now. Who's your NLCS MVP and who's your World Series MVP? I'm hoping it's for the Dodgers, but go crazy, Tim.
I'm going to work backwards. World Series MVP, Max Muncy. He has some revenge for last year's World Series. Even though they won it, remember, he was 0 for the World Series. For the NLCS, so last year was Tommy Tanks. I don't think it's going to be him this year, even though I think we'll get some goodness out of him. Just go straight up. I had him last year. I won't pick him this year. Do you remember who I picked last year?
Last year?
For NLCS?
Teo.
It was Teo, yeah. Let's go with that again.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to go crazy right this, right? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go crazy.
Do it.
I got Shohei Ohtani, NLCS MVP, and Shohei Ohtani, World Series MVP. If the man pitches twice and has like 1 home run, like he's got to be a lock. But I know that's like the biggest cop out. But that's what I believe. Also, last one here. If you could wear one Dodgers player's jersey, this man, how many jerseys do you have? First of all,
it's 20-ish.
That's it.
I got
Did you unload some or
no? Maybe
really?
it's 30. I still need to do the show where I go through
30 times 30.
It's I got a Zach Lee jersey. I mean, I got a Rubarena. I mean,
you should have Chris Taylor sign your Zach Lee jersey.
Oh, that would be the best.
That'd be pretty sick.
That's
That'd
a
be pretty
great
sick.
idea.
I'm
Oh,
telling you.
man.
Okay, if you could wear one Dodgers player's jersey for the rest of your life, you can only wear one, which means something to you.
It's these current guys?
No, all time. You can do both, but let's do all time because I know that would be tough for you because you have so many. But who would you pick?
All right. So normally I'd say 34. But I'm going to say the man that we always remember, number 60, Andrew Tolles.
Really? An Andrew Tolles?
I have an Andrew Tolles playoff jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Road gray?
No, it's
Home?
It's home.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice.
Here. So I shout out to Tolsey wherever you are, man. We love you. We're rooting for you, man.
You saw my vibe.
Yeah.
Just kind of went sad.
I know.
Because it always hurts
can't
to
help
talk
it,
about
man.
Andrew Tolles.
We love Tolles.
I love that. I'll tell you who I'm going with. It's going to be this year's NLCS and World Series MVP, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, you know what's crazy? They actually sell a team issue one that's not even game worn.
Yeah.
It's just team issue in this secret store out here that sells player issue stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50 large. It's 50 grand, 50 racks for just a team issue, gray, Tokyo series, gold on the back. Like, honestly, it's kind of one of those things where it's like your mom's like, why, who sold, why did you sell the house? And you're wearing the jersey. You know what I'm saying?
You have Gary for a raise, man.
Hey, man, I
get that one, man.
I'm still.
We get a few of us and invest in it or something like that.
That's not a bad idea.
Wait a minute.
I like that. Let's see.
Let's get a fun.
Okay, we got you guys Tolles jersey from NS2. Justin Lamas. I custom for some reason Justin Lamas, and I love this guy. He's one of our best commenters.
yeah.
You have him on your show, I'm sure you do. He's so obsessed with Anthony Rendon. Like, it's so funny. It's hilarious. I love it. And
I've got my big article at Dodgers Nation still out there saying we got to get Anthony Rendon.
oh my God, Hollywood lifestyle. I always say there's some players that like hate baseballs, like Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. Some players that hate baseball, and it's Anthony Rendon. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Special thanks to Mr. Tim Rogers. Go follow him on X and Instagram, Tim Rogers. Go follow his Instagram. Go to his website. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, The Blue Madness.
Yeah, Dodgers 2080 is the safest way. It's just stupid Facebook.
Okay, so Blue Madness. Rock with him and our guy, your partner now, right?
Yeah, Mike Salas. Yeah, we're 50-50 partners now.
There you go. Great stuff. But we're going to leave you here with Dave Roberts and his post-game scrum. So check this out. And also join us tomorrow morning for Dodgers Dugout Live. And then tomorrow you got Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night. So if you're going to that, might as well just leave for here right now because it's going to be a while to get in. But that's going to do it, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, but hit the like button. Dodgers get the win. They're starting to roll. And my name is Doug McKain. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and we are out.
Excellent pitching just continues. Emmet Sheehan proving to be perfect through 5, excellent through 7. Just what were you seeing from him tonight that gave him that edge?
I saw edge. I saw confidence. Just really quality strike throwing. I thought Will and him were in lockstep tonight, and just really great to see him complete 7. And again, just allowed us to reset some guys in the pen, use some guys that hadn't gotten work, get Alex back in the fold. So just overall, really good night from the pitching staff.
What is it like just having Will Smith back behind the plate for him to get the hit early in the game, score the run? Just what kind of boost does he now have, kind of with his return to the lineup?
It's great, and we use the term lengthen out the lineup a lot. And just having Will in the lineup, just taking the at-bats that he takes, and obviously getting us started with the double was great to see. And just, putting guys in their rightful spots in the order. And it's tough to navigate. When you get Will back, you get Max back, you get, Andy and Teo doing what they're doing, then it's a tough lineup.
That always the focus kind of been on the fastball. What does that slider really become more?
Well, the slider has been great. I think that, but I still do believe that glove side fastball, it starts with that. And then when he can use that, pitch off of that lane, that tunnel with the slider, And then there's a changeup in there, obviously, and then you get the fastball that's elevated. It's just tough to kind of square him up. And but for me, it just that glove side fastball kind of sets the tone for everything. But he's got a lot of confidence right now.
How much does Mookie look like Mookie in the last month or so?
He looks like Mookie. He's just playing baseball. I don't think he's overthinking the mechanics. He's competing. He's trying to, help us win baseball games. And you're seeing that kind of emotion, the confidence, the swagger, which, we hadn't seen in a while. But, it's been consistent over the last 30 days.
When you look at what the rotation's done the last trip through, is that just a coincidence, or do these guys feed off each other?
Certainly they're talented, if you look at all 6 guys, but I do think that there's a feed off one another. And, Emmet had a no-hitter through 5 tonight, and I think they're feeding off one another. And I think that it plays into the at-bats too. When you get the right guys out there and, you see guys taking good at-bats, then you want to follow up that with another good at-bat. But I think, the starting pitchers, they're doing a heck of a job.
Do you think Teo can build off, the swings he took today?
I do. I do. Even in the at-bat, the first at-bat where he grounded out, I thought the at-bats, the takes, the swings, all were good.